The 7 deadly sins: greed, lust, envy, pride, gluttony, wrath, sloth. There are 7 fighters that perfectly encapsulate those very sins, starting with greed. Greed is an intense and selfish desire for something such as wealth or power. Conor McGregor is the perfect candidate for this sin. The notorious Conor McGregor rose from humble beginnings to becoming one of the sport's most iconic figures. With a net worth estimated at more than $200 million, McGregor's success is undeniable. But after becoming the UFC's first double champ with legendary victories over Jose Aldo at featherweight and Eddie Alvarez at lightweight, generating more than $100 million from his super fight with Floyd Mayweather, Conor changed to the worse. His love for money led to the creation of his personal whiskey brand, Prober No. 12, a product which he promoted heavily in his fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov, a mistake that led to his devastating loss that still hurts him today. Conor's continual need for more wealth has removed him from the warrior path to the billionaire path. His constant promotion of his products, McGregor Fast, his restaurant, Black Forest Inn, and his newest addition, Forged Irish Stud, has led him to 2 losses against Dustin Poirier, a KO loss and a broken ankle. Many question whether McGregor has the drive to fight again, something that Conor denies. It remains to be seen if Khabib's words that no fighter can have 2 primes is true for the notorious case. Whether you see him as a fighter or a businessman, one thing is clear: Conor McGregor's story is a cautionary tale of how greed can overshadow talent and hard work. Speaking of talent, there is no man more talented, more controversial, or more violent than John Bones Jones, the personification of the sin of wrath. Wrath is great anger that expresses itself in a desire to punish someone. Jones, widely regarded as one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, unbeaten and current heavyweight champion of the UFC, has been involved in some of the most heated controversies in the sport of MMA. First, his rivalry with Daniel Cormier, a rivalry where Jones has threatened to kill Cormier, and then his arrest for various offenses such as driving under the influence, a hit and run, and domestic violence against his wife. He has tested positive on banned substances on several occasions, resulting in suspensions and strict titles. Jones has often apologized for his actions and expressed remorse, but he has also repeated his mistakes and failed to learn from them. He has blamed others for his problems and refused to take full responsibility. Jones is the type of man that could very well be included in almost every single one of the 7 deadly sins. However, none fits the sin of pride better than Ronda Rousey. Pride is defined as a high or inordinate opinion of one's own dignity, importance, merit, or superiority. They say pride comes before the fall, and none fits more perfectly to that phrase than Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is an American MMA fighter, judoka, and now professional wrestler for the WWE. She is widely regarded as one of the most influential and successful females of all time. She was the first female fighter to sign with the UFC, the first UFC women's bantamweight champion, and the first woman to be included into the UFC Hall of Fame. Rousey was known for her dominant and record-breaking wins in the UFC. She won 12 of her 14 MMA fights, 11 of them by submission and 9 of them in the very first round. Mike Tyson of MMA, she was unbeatable, unstoppable, and invincible until November 15, 2015 at UFC 193. She faced Holly Holm. Hall was a former boxing champion and a skilled striker who exploited Rousey's weaknesses in striking and footwork. Hall outclassed Rousey in the stand-up, landing punches and kicks that rocked Rousey's chin and body. In the second round, Hall delivered a devastating head kick that knocked Rousey out cold, ending her reign as the champion and her undefeated streak. Rousey was humiliated, devastated. She revealed that she had underestimated Hall and overestimated herself. She had let her pride get in the way of her performance. The second and final nail to the coffin happened in the 30th of November 2016, when she attempted to reclaim her title from the GOAT, Amanda Nunes, at UFC 207. Nunes was a powerful and aggressive striker who overwhelmed Rousey with a barrage of punches in the first 48 seconds of the fight. Rousey had no answer for Nunes' onslaught, and the referee stopped the fight, giving Nunes a TKO victory. Rousey was stunned, broken and defeated. She did not speak to the media after the fight, and she soon announced her retirement from MMA. She had lost her passion, her confidence and her pride. She had not learned from her first loss, and she had not improved her skills. She had let her pride prevent her from growing as a fighter. And speaking of growth, no UFC fighters barely grows as much of camp as Paddy's. Gluttony is the sin associated with overindulgence and excessive consumption. Paddy the Buddy, an English MMA fighter who competes in the UFC in the lightweight division, is known for overeating to a ridiculous degree after fights. The former Cage Warriors champion and BJJ black belt is not a glutton for quality but a glutton for quantity, a man who has lost sight of his health and discipline. In Paddy's word, it's a sin, not just against his body, but against his career and his potential. Even if he has not yet paid the price, he has been worth in his fight against James Gordon at UFC 281 in controversial unanimous decision victory, which has led to Paddy losing many fans. At least no one can deny Paddy's work ethic, in stark contrast with the next fighter, Derek the Black Beast Lewis. Sloth, one of the 7 deadly sins, is characterized by lack of motivation, inactivity, and the reluctance to engage in productive work. No one fits this category better than Derek, who currently competes in the heavyweight division in the UFC, despite holding the record for most knockouts in the UFC and winning 27 of his 40 fights, 20 of them by knockout. Everybody knows that if Derek took MMA seriously, he could be a contender for the heavyweight title. The following interview with Joe Rogan perfectly showcases why Derek Lewis represents the sin of sloth.
Oh, so you don't run at all?
No.
So what do you do for endurance work?
I do Stairmaster. We do elliptical bike and stuff like that. I don't run. I haven't ran in years, really.
Do you not run because you don't like it, or do you not run because of your joints?
I just don't like it. It's
Yeah.
boring. I mean, really, it's boring.
Speaking of not liking something or someone, the following fighter is a great representation of the envy in the UFC. Israel Adesanya, the last style bender. Envy is defined as the feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities or lack. Adesanya is a New Zealand professional MMA fighter and a former 2-time UFC middleweight champion, widely regarded as one of the greatest of all time in that division. Adesanya has won 24 of his 27 MMA fights, 16 of them by knockout, and has achieved victories against the likes of Anderson Silva, Robert Whittaker, Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori and Paulo Costa. However, despite all his achievements, there is a man that Adesanya is envious of. Enter Alex Pereira, a Brazilian professional MMA fighter and former kickboxer. Before entering the UFC, Pereira, a former Glory middleweight and light heavyweight champion, was known as the man who not only had given 2 losses to Israel, but had even knocked him out in the second fight. Before him entering the UFC in November 2021, Adesanya had said the following.
But then, yeah, this fight I fought and I got knocked out. My first and only ever knockout loss, and then my only back-to-back loss as well. So for me, it was a lot of learning. But I'm glad it happened because I wouldn't be here where it was. And even the same guy now he watches all my fights, and every time I fight, like clockwork, he'll try and put something out like, I beat this guy. But I've never ever watched any of his fights, ever. So at the end of the day, no one knows who the he is. And he's gonna be that guy when I'm world champion, when I'm a legend. He's gonna be at some pub, talking some shit about, I beat that guy one time.
Fast forward a year later, November 2022, Pereira managed to knock Adesanya out and hand him his first loss in the middleweight division. Despite avenging his loss on April of 2023, Adesanya yet again showed pettiness by mocking Alex Pereira's son as a revenge for what he did in 2017. Israel continues to show signs of jealousy as Alex Pereira has moved up a division and defeated the man who handed Adesanya his very first loss in the UFC, Jan Blachowicz, the legendary Polish power. Adesanya's recent lackluster performance against Sean Strickland has led him to temporarily retire and rethink his future. Speaking of last, the very next fighter may come as a surprise, but it was the only fighter I could think of that could capture somehow the scene of lust. Paige VanZant. Lust is often defined as a strong sexual desire, but it can also refer to a passionate desire for something. While Paige herself hasn't committed to the sin of lust, her fans in the UFC president Dana White have certainly have, which has led her to her downfall as a UFC fighter. Paige is an American MMA fighter, bare-knuckle boxer, professional wrestler, author, and model. She was previously signed to the UFC, where she competed in the flyweight division. Despite having no amazing record or fighting style, Paige was heavily promoted by the UFC company, along with Conor McGregor and John Jones. Due to her looks, her lack of talent, however, showcased when met with better opposition, such as Thug Rose Namajunas and Michelle Watterson. Since then, Paige has been successful in anything other than MMA, even having a successful OnlyFans page. Despite not fighting since 2020, Paige is still included in the newest UFC game because of fans' fascination with her. If you enjoyed this video, be certain to share, like, and subscribe for more. Have a nice day, my friend.